Hello guys, welcome back, and today I'm going to be talking about Jesperi Kotkaniemi and why I was so wrong about him. Now, Jesperi Kotkaniemi has been a great rookie in the NHL this year with the Montreal Canadiens, but I made predictions for him before the season started, so how badly do they hold up? Watch till the end to find out. Now, Jesperi Kotkaniemi is the youngest player in the NHL last time I checked, and you wouldn't know that from looking at his play. He's had an absolutely amazing rookie season, and with the Montreal Canadiens, he's been on fire throughout the course of the season. Now, in 60 games played so far with the Montreal Canadiens, the rookie has put up 10 goals, 19 assists for 29 points. And being pretty much a half a point per game as a rookie at his age is so impressive. And being at a 58% corner support percentage is also amazing. But his stats have been really good, but another thing is also what he does on the ice that don't necessarily translate to points. He's been great defensively, he's been very sound, and the hockey IQ is, of course, through the roof. Now, before the NHL season started, I made two videos about Jesperi Kotkaniemi. One about his future in Montreal, and another one about if you make the opening day roster. And I made some predictions, and I made some opinions in that video, and let's just say they did not age too well. The guy strikes me as one of those guys that just needs one more season, and he's ready to go. Maybe even two, but I feel like he needs one more season to really season down there in the Liga and have some more time there in Finland to really round out his game and to round it out. I feel like he definitely needs that time to become an NHL caliber player. He has that talent, he has that potential, but I feel like, sheltering a little bit back in the Liga or anywhere down there in the minor leagues will definitely help him a lot more with his development than just straight rushing him to NHL year one. But for me, Kotkaniemi, if he were to play a full year in the NHL, I just don't see it being good for him. We've seen examples of other players being drafted pretty high up, being rushed, and not really getting their whole potential that they had when they were drafted. Well, I don't think that's going to be a huge problem for Jesperi Kotkaniemi. I feel like he has very solid talent. He has very solid potential. I just don't want to see that ruined for the Montreal Canadiens. They already jumped up to get a guy like Kotkaniemi at number 3. They already took risks there. I don't want to see them play him year one in the NHL and then have his potential go down just because they wanted to inject some youth in this random year that they weren't going to compete in anyways. To me, while I don't see that ruining Kotkaniemi's potential, I don't see that helping him at all. I don't see that full 82-game season doing much for him at all. I see that 9-game stint, if he were to do that, option number 2, I would see that helping him in the long run as well, but I feel like, again, setting him down in the Liga to start off the season and to focus on the Liga and the World Junior Championships, I feel like that would be the best for his career and for his potential with the Montreal Canadiens. But again, in my opinion, I want to see him sent down to the Liga. I want to see him dominate that league offensively and defensively. I want to see him represent Finland for the World Junior Championships and hopefully them getting a medal this season. I want to see him dominate in the minors one more year before he comes back to the NHL and plays pretty well. I think that having that route would be special. Maybe if he plays 9 games, it still happens, but I feel like having that whole season where he can focus on the minors will be the best thing for him. Oh my gosh. Those or some bad takes, and that's a little bit of an understatement. Now, when Jesperi Kotkaniemi was drafted 3rd overall back in 2018, a lot of people, including me of course, expected him to be ready in maybe a year, maybe 2 years down the line, and that was something that was kind of a general consensus. Now, there were some people that said that he would make the NHL in his first year, but that was a pretty big minority. But even the people saying that didn't expect him to play as well as he has, but Kotkaniemi has had a smooth transition in the NHL with the Montreal Canadiens, and right now is playing like one of the best rookies in the class. And of course, as I said in those 2 videos that are looking pretty aged right now, I thought Kotkaniemi would be a year out. I was hoping that maybe he would get a 1 year in the Liga, have some seasoning, get used to it, and then get into the NHL and prove all the doubters wrong. But at that point, I thought he was going to be ready for it. But he was completely ready to start out the season. When we look at his preseason, that was the big turning point for Kotkaniemi being seemingly an NHL player. He had a great preseason. He looked great. He looked sound for the NHL, and the Montreal Canadiens gave him the shot and had him start with the NHL roster, which, when it happened at the time, I was completely against, but looking back on it, it was a smart move. But Kotkaniemi has shown great skill and prowess as an 18-year-old in the NHL. To be able to get 29 points in 60 games is something that is very, very special. And usually when it comes to the best rookies, they're usually quite a bit older. With this year's Elias Pettersson, he's age 20, 2 full years older than Kotkaniemi. With Kotkaniemi and what he's been able to do as such a young guy to play as well as the NHL is super, super impressive. And obviously he has gotten help from the Montreal Canadiens, but he has played well in his own right. But Kotkaniemi has really changed the dynamic of that Montreal Canadiens lineup. When it comes to Kotkaniemi, he might not get the most ice time, he might not be the best player on that team, but he's giving that team something that they haven't had before. And while the Montreal Canadiens as a whole have looked a lot more speedy, a lot more skilled than last year, Kotkaniemi kind of resembles what the Montreal Canadiens have been so far this season. A high-scoring, high-flying, not really the greatest defensively, but very sound and very skilled team that Kotkaniemi really resembles. And of course, Kotkaniemi is just a fun a ton to watch. He's a ton of fun to just watch his skills, but he also has a ton of fun on the ice. You can see him smiling on just the bench almost every single time he goes on it. He's just a fun player to watch and one that you just kind of have to root for. Kotkaniemi again brings that skill and brings that youth that Montreal just did not have last year. While they had some youthful players, while they had some skilled players for sure, when it comes to the team overall, they were not buying into that speedy, skillful system. But guys like Kotkaniemi have come in, really embraced that, and really played well with the Montreal Canadiens. It's kind of a shift change when it comes to year-to-year comparisons because the Montreal Canadiens in the standings, yes, are completely different, but in style of the game, they also are completely different. And a lot of that has to do with Kotkaniemi and how he's resembled that team so far. Now, going back to my predictions before the season, when it was announced that Kotkaniemi would be on the opening roster for Montreal, I thought that was gonna be a mistake in all honesty. For me, I thought Kotkaniemi, again, needed one more season to really blend in the Liga, really start to grow his skills, and really become a complete player. And while Kotkaniemi isn't that quite yet, he's played so well in the NHL and has proved that wrong at least. And again, going back to when he was drafted 3rd overall, so many people were saying, oh, this was a huge reach. The Montreal Canadiens could have picked Zdeno, they could have picked Quinn Hughes, and while those guys are still looking decent, Kotkaniemi is obviously looking like the good pick here. And for the Montreal Canadiens, the only reason they did it in the first place was because of team need of that center position, but he's already playing well no matter the position he's in. And I remember the crowd of the 2018 NHL draft. I mean, I was there and live in Dallas. I was able to go to that draft, and the crowd was kind of weird. It wasn't any big applause. It was kind of just like, all right, Montreal, sure, go ahead. And that was kind of the general feeling. And when he was drafted, it seemed like a lot of people were saying, oh, it was too big of a reach. There were better players available. And that was the general consensus at the time. And especially as the months leading up to the season, that was still the thought process. But as Kotkaniemi came into training camp with the Habs, he started to show why he was 3rd overall and why he was picked so high. And of course, here we are. And remembering back to the time during the draft, and when it came to my mock draft, I had him going 12th overall to New York Islanders. I wasn't seeing him going very high, but of course the Montreal Canadiens had all the faith in him. Everybody thought they were crazy for picking him 3rd overall, but Kotkaniemi and the Montreal Canadiens are proving everybody wrong, and Kotkaniemi definitely is getting the last laugh. And while for the Montreal Canadiens, they kind of are slipping out of this playoff race in the Eastern Conference of the NHL, there's been a lot of bright spots for their team and for their roster. And a guy like Jesperi Kotkaniemi coming in and playing so well in his first year as an 18-year-old is something and a bright spot that not many NHL teams get to enjoy these days. But the Montreal Canadiens are seeing a great talent in Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Having him drafted 3rd overall right now is looking like the right decision. And if you would have said that to me when the draft was actually happening, I would have thought you were crazy. But here we are. And the Montreal Canadiens have proved us wrong. But a big thing that has impressed me about Jesperi Kotkaniemi is his professionalism. While, yes, he has a ton of fun on the ice and off the ice, he's always smiling. He also knows when to be professional, and especially at the NHL level. For an 18-year-old, it is quite hard to be able to keep your maturity and keep it all together. But Jesperi Kotkaniemi has, of course, had the confidence in himself, has had the play on the ice, and that's resulted to a pretty good result for the Montreal Canadiens and a great season for Jesperi Kotkaniemi. With Jesperi Kotkaniemi being such a great rookie, I can now gladly say that I was wrong about Jesperi Kotkaniemi. But of course, with this video, I want to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments down below. So let me know, what do you think about Jesperi Kotkaniemi? What do you think about his rookie season with the Montreal Canadiens? And what were your predictions about him starting the season? Did you see him playing this well, or did you see him struggling? But if you guys want some more Grav videos just like this one, you can click on this card right here to watch my video about Elias Pettersson and why I was so wrong about him. But that is going for today, guys. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Can comment down below your thoughts on my predictions on Jesperi Kotkaniemi and what your predictions were. And I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Goodbye.